जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणौ प्रणमामः। जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणौ प्रणमामः। नाद ब्रह्ममयी जय वागीश्वरी शरणं ते गच्छामः। जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणौ प्रणमामः। त्वमसि शरण्या त्रिभुवनधन्या सुरमुनिवन्दितचरणा नवरसमाधुरा कविता मुखरा नवरसमाधुरा कविता मुखरा स्मितरुचिरुचिराभरणा। जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणौ प्रणमामः। आसीना भव मानसहंसे कुन्दतु हि न शशिधवले हर जडतां कुरु बोधिविकासं हर जडतां कुरु बोधिविकासं सितपङ्कजतनु विमले। जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणौ प्रणमामः। ललितकलामयि ज्ञानविभामयि वीणापुस्तकधारिणी मतिरस्तां नो तव पदकमले मतिरस्तां नो तव पदकमले अयि कुण्ठाविषहारिणी। जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणौ प्रणमामः। तव चरणौ प्रणमामः। Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diksha.
Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om. We are coming to the end of this 6th chapter dealing with Dhyana Yoga or on meditation. To quickly recap, Krishna gave a brilliant exposition on meditation. What is the condition of the mind suitable for meditation? That is called the Bahiranga Sadhana. Antaranga Sadhana, what you need to do just before meditation. Then the actual practice of meditation. Right now we are dealing with the benefits of meditation or the phala, and very soon Arjuna will come and ask a question about the problems, and then we have a complete discussion what are the problems about meditation. We begin with Colonel Vijayan. Sir, it is your time.
Good evening, sir. Hari Om, ma'am. Am I clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
The essence of the verse 27 and 28 are same. Verse 28 reads, Yunjanema sadatmanaha yogi vigata kalmasa sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantakam sukham asnute. Atyantakam sukham asnute. This phrase is the same as Uttamam Sukham Upayati in verse 27. A yogi in constant meditation enjoys limitless happiness, ananda, shanti, contentment, and purnatva. Bhagavatam
Colonel, you have gone mute.
Not audible, Colonel. We have some issue.
Lost connection, I think.
I think so. We will go, we'll continue
Yes.
the Vasumati, and as soon as Colonel comes back, we will get back to Colonel Vijayan. Dr. Vasumati?
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sarvam Bhutasya Matmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshanaha. One whose mind is disciplined through meditation perceives the Atma in all beings and all beings in Atma. He has the same vision everywhere. Yoga Yuktatma here refers to this Gnani. Atma here means mind. Gnani whose mind is Yuktaha. Yuktaha means disciplined or saturated with this self-knowledge. Because of what? Yogena, because of the consistent practice of Nididhyasanam by quality time to the thought of Vedanta. Therefore, yoga means Nididhyasanam, Yuktaha means saturation, Atma means mind, Yoga Yukta Atma means the one whose mind has reached Vedantic saturation through Vedantic meditation, and such a person Sarvata Samadarshanaha, because he is used to dwelling upon Atma all the time. Even when he interacts with the people, he does not lose sight of the Atma in everyone, the essential nature in everyone. And therefore, Sarvatra means in every human being. He sees the common feature like a thread in and through all the beads of a mala. The invisible thread keeps all the beads together. There is the inherent Chaitanyam, the life principle, the consciousness principle, which is inherent in all. Therefore, Sarvatra Samadarshanaha means Sarvatra Atma Darshanaha. And it does not mean that he does not see differences. Certainly he sees physical differences. Certainly he sees the intellectual and emotional differences. But in and through the differences, he does not lose sight of the oneness of Atma. Just as in and through all the differences of Nama Rupa of the ornaments, we see the inherent gold. Sarvatra Samadarshanaha Yoga Yuktanam. This is Gnana Nishta. He is no more a Gnani, but he is a Gnana Nishta. And what is his vision? Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam. He sees the Atma as residing in every living being, just as a person appreciates the space as present in every room, every pot, every cup. The space is within the hall. Similarly, Atma is within everyone, and this is Sarva Antaryamatva Darshanam. And he also says that Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani, the reverse vision. Instead of saying that space is within the hall, you begin to say everything exists in one space. Similarly, Atma is not in the body. Sorry. All the bodies are in the Atma. Bhutam here means body. Sarva Bhutani Atmani, all the bodies in the Atma he sees. And he's aware of the fact that Atma is imperishable and the body is perishable. When one wants to enjoy variety or appreciate beauty, requires entertainment, make use of the Anatma. When you're looking for something permanent, then you cannot rely on the body part. That's the mistake we all do. But a Gnani never commits that mistake. He knows when security is needed, hold on to Atma. When Ananda is needed, hold on to the Atma. When limitlessness is needed, hold on to the Atma. And anything else other than this, we can change the channel to Anatma. And the greatest tragedy of human being is that he expects security from insecure things, insecure people, insecure relationships. When he has wrong expectations, disappointment is the result. And that is why Krishna says in the second chapter, नासतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दुष्टो अन्तस्त्वन् अनयो तत्त्वदर्शिभिः. Jnani knows what to seek from where. When you want permanence, immortality, do not expect that at the body level. Body is mortal. Do not expect permanence in relationship level. You would be in trouble. Therefore, Sarva Bhutatman Atmani Pashyati, Sarva Bhutanam Atmani Cha Pashyati, Tatra Darshanaha Jnana Nishta. And how to get this benefit? Only one method, giving time for Vedanta. Hari Om. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing out such a depth of meaning in this verse. I will just inquire if Colonel Vijayan is back.
Nothing of it is mine, sir. It's all Param's.
No, as you have brought it, that's exactly what we want. You know, and nothing, everything is from our teachers, but to be able to explain it in such a short time and to be able to understand it and internalize. You know, this verse is so much like Mattaha Parataram Nanyat Kinchidanti Dhananjay, to be able to see the Atma Tattva in everything. I'm just waiting for Colonel.
Colonel Vijayan is having some, he's just trying to log in, but we'll go ahead with the next one.
Shivkumar, please.
Yes, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. This verse 30 of chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. Yo mam pasyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pasyati tasya aham na pranasyami sachamena pranasyati. Swamiji explains that any form of bhakti practiced in the absence of self-knowledge is a lower form of bhakti known as apara bhakti or dvaita bhakti or veda bhakti. After attaining apara bhakti, one has to gain atma jnanam or spiritual knowledge to realize the atma swarupam, the all-pervading higher form of Lord which percolates through everything and everybody, both the atma and anatma vastu. Krishna says that this all-pervading Atma is Bhagwan, and this is my true nature. In the previous verse, Dr. Vasumati beautifully explained that the Jnani sees Atma everywhere and in everybody, and vice versa, he sees everything and everybody in Atma. In this verse, Lord Krishna is addressing us and says that he is not lost to such a Gnani who sees Bhagwan everywhere and in everybody and also sees everything and everybody in the Lord. The translation of the verse is, one who sees me in all and sees all in me, to him I am not lost and he is not lost to me. From these two verses, Krishna is telling us that Atma is Chaitanya Swarupam and Chaitanya Swarupam is Bhagwan or Ishvara and is present in everybody as the very consciousness itself, which makes our inert body sentient. This is the message in the first line, Yomam Pasyati Sarvatra Sarvamcha Mai Pashyati. Referring to the slokam Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrusham, Swamiji explains that the Lord is, or the formless Atma, is comparable to Gaganam or Akasham. Initially, worship of God in the forms we are familiar or we like should be practiced with a view to sensitize our mind and make it subtle. Only then a subtle mind will be able to realize that the formless God of all-pervading nature alone is real. Once we attain such gnanam, one is ever in the presence of God. In the second line of this verse, tasya aham na pranashyami sachameva na pranashyati, Krishna says that for such a gnani devotee, neither he will disappear nor such a devotee will disappear from him. Pranashyati means that such a devotee does not disappear from me. Therefore, through Nididhyasanam, we can become the greatest bhaktas of the Lord. Here, Swamiji quotes 7th chapter verse where Krishna says, Gnanitu Atmaiva me matham. I am he is I, which is nothing but a Mahavakya. Similar declarations are there elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita. One such is Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. All Upanishads give us similar messages. In Mundaka, we can find this in Shloka 1.1.6 and 3.2.9. And in Kaivalya, a beautiful shloka which Dr. just now narrated, Mayeva Sakalam Jatam, Mayi Sarvam Pratishtitam, Mayi Sarvam Layam Yati, Tad Brahma Advayam Asmayam. Everything is born in me alone, everything is based on me alone, everything resolves into me alone. I am that non-dual Brahma. Concluding, for all us sadhakas, it is extremely important for us to see God in all and all in God, with which attitude alone we shall be able to control kama, krodha, mada, matsarya, ahankara, all our negative thoughts and feelings. Imagine a situation where someone is insulting us, hurting us, etc. In such circumstance, it is normal for my mind to develop sentiments of resentment, hatred towards the person. But if I permit this to happen, my mind moves away from the divine. Instead, if I see God in that person, then I will think, God is testing me through this person. He wants to increase the virtue of tolerance, and that is why he is inspiring this person to behave badly with me. In such circumstance, if we should make our manas drudam and not permit the incidents to disturb us. Training in this way, we will be able to prevent the mind from becoming a victim of negative sentiments and make effective progress towards reaching our goal of Jivan Mukti. Hari Om.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiv. Very nice explanation. You went through the whole aspect of bhakti from saguna to nirguna and brought in many related verses. Thank you. We go back to, yeah.
Sir, I'm back. Vijayan here.
Yes,
Sir.
Colonel, I'll put the verse back to you. You can start.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
The essence of this verse 27 and 28 are same. Verse 28 reads, Yunjameva sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmasaha sukhena brahma sparsham atyantikam sukham ashnute. Atyantik sukham ashnute. This phrase is same as uttamam sukham upayati in verse 27. A yogi is in constant meditation, enjoys limitless happiness, ananda, shanti, contentment, and purnatva. Bhagavatam gives definition of 4 types of happiness. It says tamasic happiness is derived from narcotics and alcohol. Rajasic happiness derived from gratification of the sense organs and mind. The sattvic happiness experienced through practicing virtues like compassion and empathy, cultivation of knowledge, stilling of the mind, etc. It also includes the bliss of self-realization experienced by the jnani when they stabilize the mind. And lastly is the nirguna happiness. Sri Krishna here explains that the yogi who becomes free from material contamination and becomes united with God attains the highest state of perfect happiness. This is called unlimited bliss. Then why is this perfect happiness eluding us? It is because of obstacles in the path of jnanam reaching the jnana phalam. These obstacles are due to our habit of constantly engaging or dwelling in the body-mind complex. Nidityasanam or the Vedantic Vichara is the only process of reducing this effect of this habit. The process, of course, will be slow but is sure. The next phrase, Evam Atminam Yunjam. In this way, Atmanam here means mind, Yunjam reorientation or reorganizing by constant meditation. Swamiji gives the example of a physiotherapy to activate the muscles. Vigate kalmasaha. Unhealthy habits are called viparanita bhavana. Anger is a viparati bhavana, so is jealousy a viparati bhavana. So by reorienting the mind or by transforming the mind, the viparati bhavana are reduced. Kalmasaha means viparati bhavana. Vigata means slow removal of these bhavana. That is why kalmasaha, vigata kalmasaha. Now there's another word called sadha, sada atmakam, sada. Here one has to constantly reorient the mind to remove or reduce the kalmasaha. How and when? Whenever one finds time, contemplate on the disturbing thoughts. If they are mild, alertness to the situation would suffice. However, if the situation is grave, look at it through a Vedantic mind. Anyone who finds the situation is choiceless. Use the Vedantic knowledge to subdue it. Abhibhava is the answer. If not able to solve the problem, dissolve the problem. Something similar to the sun obscuring the stars by daylight by its brightness. Now, when all these things, are they very, very difficult to achieve? No, it says it is sukhena, it is very easily attainable. And what happens when you get the ultimate happiness, Brahma Sparsham? This unlimited bliss or ananda is born out of association with Brahman by owning up to Brahman. Lastly, Brahmananda does not prevent a Vishyananda as long as one is anchored in Brahmananda. I conclude by saying it is very simple to be happy, but difficult to be simple. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Colonel Vijayan. You know, it's so nice to see everyone making such an excellent presentation and inspiring all of us. And all of us are inspired now to make meditation a part of your daily life, because we see from each of these verses the great importance and the benefits that we have from meditation. Dr. Sanjay, it is your time.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I'm talking on the shloka, 31st shloka. So let me chant it first. Sarva bhuta sthitam yo mam bhajatyekat pamastitaha sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mayi vartate. So now we are in the 6th chapter called Dhyana Yoga, wherein Krishna is dealing with various aspects of meditation. Now, as such, our Swami Paramarthananda has beautifully organized this chapter for our clear understanding. Otherwise, it's very difficult to understand this meditation by reading oneself. Now, the information is spread all over this chapter. So Swamiji has organized and classified it as certain general disciplines to be observed throughout our life, which is nothing but Karma Yoga. And Swamiji says that this chapter is heavily borrowed from the Patanjali's Yoga Shastra. Now we have gone through all this. There are, after the general disciplines which has to be observed throughout, there are certain specific disciplines which need to be observed just before starting meditation, such as where to sit, how and how to concentrate our mind. These things have all been dealt with. Now we have also dealt with the process of meditation. Now here the meditation is different from other forms of meditation. This is called a Vedantic meditation. Here in Vedantic meditation, this is not a thoughtless meditation. The mind is not blank. Here we are taking the thought of Vedantic teaching. Now here the Vedantic teaching, that means the student has already gone through this Shravanam and Mananam. He has already gone through the Shastras with the help of a guru. So he knows what is Brahman, what is the nature of himself, but he is not able to internalize it for various reasons. Now, in order to internalize, this meditation is an excellent tool And that is why we are going through this meditation for ones who will not be able to just get into this knowledge or become a Brahmanistha just by Shravanam and Mananam. Now, this process of meditation after going through the Shravanam and Mananam is now known as a Nididhyasa. Now, this is what we are dwelling in the process of meditation. Now, we've been going through after this process of meditation for a length of time. There's a transformation in the person, in the attitude of a person towards the world and the people around him. So this is a practice, beneficial aspects of the meditation. So previous few verses were talking about the benefits. This verse also is going to talk about the benefit of the meditation, that jnanam has become a jnananistha. That means the knowledge has percolated into his attitude, into his behavior, that he sees himself as the eternal consciousness which is present in everybody. Not just that this eternal consciousness is present in everybody, that everybody is in the consciousness itself. Everybody is in the Atma. Now he abides by this self, and that brings about a tremendous change in the personality which was not present before. And the change is that he is able to see himself as everyone. So that is the Sarvatra Samadarshana. Now, this radical change is purely an attitudinal change wherein the world will no longer threaten him, or he will not be disturbed by the ups and downs of the life. Now, the meditator clearly knows that he is not the body-mind complex. He is the eternal unchanging awareness or consciousness which inheres everybody. Not only that the consciousness is in everybody, but everybody is in me, that myself, and the consciousness, and it can be described as if it is in space. Such a meditator who has been transformed because of this teaching, that he sees himself in everybody. And this is considered to be a highest form of bhakti, a very highest form of devotion. And the Krishna describes him, such a person is the highest bhakta. And what he sees is such a person doesn't look upon God as a person. For him, the usual form of worship and idol do not matter. They are all irrelevant. He is able to see God as myself in everybody. And so coming to the meaning of this verse, it says, Astitaha, one who has attained this vision of oneness with everything, with everybody. Yah Mam Bhajati, he worships me, he is the highest bhakta. Sarva Bhuta Sthitam, who is present in all beings. Sa Yogi, that yogi abides in me, vartate mai. Api vartamanaha, though engaged sarvatha in every way. That means he might be a grihastha, he might be a sannyasi, he might be anything, but he is the highest form of bhakta, and he has got the benefit of this knowledge. One who has attained the vision of oneness worships me, who am present in all beings. That yogi abides me, though engaged in every other way. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay. So we have come to almost the climax of all forms of meditation, the benefit of meditation. And in this verse, we see that once you have understood who you are, then whatever you do, every form of action now becomes a form of meditation. Meenakshi, it is your time.
Yes, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, chapter 6, verse 32. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sayogi paramo mataha. Word meanings. Arjuna, O Arjuna, Atmaupamyena, keeping himself as the standard, sa yogi, that yogi, yah pashyati, who sees, sukham va, pleasure, yadi va dukkham, and pain, samam, alike, sarvatra, in all, mataha, is considered to be paramaha, the greatest. So the meaning of the verse is, O Arjuna, keeping himself as the standard, that yogi who sees pleasures and pains alike in all is considered to be the greatest. Entitled Dhyana Yoga, Yoga of Meditation, Chapter 6 elucidates meditation as the gateway to self-realization. Sri Krishna gives a masterful description of 3 stages of spiritual evolution, from an active yogi to a meditative sannyasi, and finally to the exalted state of a gnani, the enlightened one. These three stages are nothing but last three legs of Ashtanga Yoga, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Step by step, Sri Krishna takes us through the preparatory disciplines as well as disqualifications for meditation. This is followed by the test of enlightenment. Swami Param calls it as Vedantic meditation, which is described in the shlokas 18 to 32, which he says Dhyana Swarupam and Dhyana Phalam. The phalam or the benefits of dhyanam is enjoyed by the yogi as Jivan Mukta. His personality transforms and expands in such a way that he sees the Lord in every human being. The way he looks at himself and the world changes for good. He is free from raga and dvesha, no attachment towards hate-love relationships. He identifies himself with all other living beings. He is an embodiment of compassion, sympathy, love, etc. This state of samatvam is realized when the yogi in meditation experiences the infinite bliss of the Parabrahman. He sees his own Atma in all beings and all beings in the same Atma. He perceives the Lord everywhere, both animate and inanimate worlds. His mind is expanded in cosmic consciousness. Sri Krishna says such realized Gnani is impartial to friends and enemies, is beyond good and evil. Swamiji says Sarvatra Samadarshanam. Thus, duality disappears. The actual test of spiritual development is the ability to see yourself in others and all beings in yourself. Adi Shankara in his Bhashya says, a Gnani sees that whatever is pleasant to himself is pleasant to all creatures, and that whatever is painful to himself is painful to all beings. He does not hurt anyone nor causes pain to anyone. Atmaupamyena sarvatra pashyati. He regards every living being as himself, for he knows that the same Atma is in everyone. Taking himself as standard, he looks at everyone. Samam pashyati, without any discrimination. Sukham va yadi va dukkham. By following the universal identification, the yogi strives not to hurt anyone since he feels the same hurt, and at the same time he is happy and elated when others are happy. Such a Gnani who has universal love is the greatest among all. Sri Krishna calls him Paramaha. Doing no harm and devoted to the right knowledge, he is regarded as the highest among all yogins. Swami Chinmayananda calls such a person as Mahatma. Swami Param in his discourse quotes a lovely Subhashita, which is an extract from Maha Upanishad, chapter 6. Ayam nija paro veti ganana laghu chetasam udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam, which means only small men, ignorant, narrow-minded, discriminate, saying one is a relative, the other is a stranger. For those who live magnanimously, the entire world constitutes one big family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one big family, is engraved in the entrance hall of the Parliament of India. To mention a few great souls of our country who lived this above mantra, Swami Ramakrishna, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Swami Vivekananda, Sai Baba, Mahatma Gandhi, and so on. Swami Ramatirtha, while addressing all gatherings, always used to start his speeches, my own self, in the form of ladies and gentlemen. A great patriot that he was, he used to roar, I am India, I am Shankara, I am Shiva. Thank you, sir. Hari Om.
Thank you, Meenakshi, very much. Sir's laptop has just crashed, so we will go on to the next verse, but we won't be able to broadcast the slide. Who's the next person?
It's me, Suman.
Okay, Suman. Sorry.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My verse is Arjuna Uvacha Yoyam Yogastvaya Proktaha Samyena Madhusudana Etasyaham na Pushyami Chanchalatvat Sthitam Sthira. So the literal meaning is Arjuna said, O Krishna, because of restlessness, I do not see the steady existence of this yoga, which yoga was imparted by you as sameness of vision. Now, verse 33 to 36 deals with obstacles to the practice of meditation and their remedies. An undisciplined mind is an obstacle to the Vedantic study. if the mind is undisciplined, Vedantic study remains just intellectual. The day-to-day problems will continue and it will not benefit me in my daily life. Therefore, mano nigraha, that is mastery or discipline, is prescribed. It is like having a double personality. One side, one declares the aham brahmasmi, who is able to quote all the Upanishads and lectures. But suppose all these are there, but emotionally I am frustrated, unhappy, and tensed. That means there is a gap between what I know and what I am. There is a lack of mental discipline. Therefore, Vedanta says you require a separate exercise for mental discipline called mano nigraha. For mano nigraha, Vedantic meditation is prescribed, and there are 4 obstacles. So what are the 4 obstacles? First is layaha, that is dullness or sleepiness. You sit for meditation, we drift off to sleep. So what are the causes for layaha? One is bahu asanam, that is overeating or a full stomach. Ajirna, that is indigestion. Nidra shesha, we have a backlog of sleep. And abhyasa, where mind is not habituated to meditation and mind goes off to sleep by association. So what is the solution for layaha? It is karma yoga, remove the cause of sleep, and then by practice. Second obstacle is vikshepaha, where mind is overactive or hyperactive or extrovertedness. And the solution is abhyasa viveka and vairagyam or dispassion. The third obstacle is kashayaha. Here the mind becomes stunted or stunned, inactive or non-functional. So what are the causes for kashayaha? It may be because of some tragic event in the past which the mind could not handle, or a shocking news which was unaddressed, or suppressed trauma or raga dvesha from the past, hidden complaints, suppressed sorrow and jealousy which could not be expressed for various reasons. Adi Shankara calls raga dvesha viryam. So a strong raga or dvesha in potential form stuns the mind. So what is the solution for kashayaha? Wait for the suppressed emotion to surface. You don't have to search for it. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to release it, just release it. Shout it out. Don't suppress it. The fourth obstacle is raga rasaswadaha. That is, meditation gives a sense of relaxation and pleasantness or pleasure. But this joy is not Atmananda or Brahmananda because it is conditional. Therefore, if I'm carried away by pleasure, it becomes an obstacle to meditation. We get addicted to meditation only to replicate that pleasantness. So what is the purpose of Vedantic meditation? It is to enjoy fullness in and through all the conditions, whether in or out of meditation. If we enjoy only in meditation or withdrawing from worldly problems, then it becomes conditional. So what is the solution for this? Instead of dwelling in pleasure, we should dwell upon I am Ananda, not during meditation, but my true Ananda is owning to Atmagnanam. It is also tackled by discrimination or viveka. All pleasure is conditional. I am not a slave of pleasure. I am Purnaha. Not only during meditation, but all the time. So Arjuna complains, Yoyam yogastvaya proktaha. This yoga imparted by you, Krishna, this meditation of deliberate dwelling in Vedantic teaching, especially the teaching that I am Atma and all else is Anatma. The mind or body belongs to the changing world, which I'm supposed to repeatedly dismiss as not I. This yoga is supposed to dwell on my ever uniform nature, which is Chaitanya Swarupa. I am changeless. I am only the witness. It's supposed to own up to the truth of me is witness consciousness, which remains pristine and uncontaminated. For Arjuna, the problem is etasyaham stiram sthitim na pashyami. Do not see steady vision unceasingly because of mind's agitation. I'm not able to receive wisdom and understand because my intellect is good, but it does not remain so. That is why students have been divided into 3 types based on their reception and retention. One is the Uttam Adhikari, where he is able to receive and retain. Adhama Adhikari not able to receive nor retain, and Madhyama Adhikari is in between, where majority of us are in that state. Reception is present, we understand, but it is quickly overpowered by our ego I, the old personality returns. So Arjuna is Madhyama Adhikari. His problem is not Tamoguna, but Rajoguna. He has a wandering mind. When we sit for meditation, the mind goes for a tour, world tour, free ride. This is all because of Chanchalatvam, and this problem is more clearly explained in the next.
Thank you.
Hello?
Thank you, Dr. Suman. Thank you, Dr. Suman. Am I audible?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
I have been listening to both Meenakshi and Dr. Suman, and this is what I feel exactly what we need to do. Do 100%. You know, we have given this brief, executed 100%, and that's what all of you have been doing so far. Really enjoying your presentation. Now we are looking at the problems that come with meditation and how Krishna will address that. Kirti, your time.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Chanchalam hi manaha Krishna. Pramati balavat dridam. Tasyaham nigraham manye. Vayor iva sudushkaram. The meaning of this verse is, O Krishna, manahi, the mind indeed is. Chanchalam, fickle, restless. Pramati, turbulent, agitating. Balavat, powerful, strong. Dridam, firm, obstinate. Aham manye, I consider. Tasya nigraham, its restraint. So dushkaram, to be very difficult. Iva vayo, like the wind. Thus enumerating the challenging characteristics of the mind, Arjuna declares that it is very difficult to control it, just like it is very difficult to control the wind. This is a very powerful analogy, for no one can think of controlling or subduing the mighty wind in the sky. Some commentators have interpreted the second part of the verse as, it appears to me that the mind is even more difficult to control than the wind. The interpretations just highlight the extent of difficulty of mind control. In this verse, Arjuna speaks for all of us when he describes the state of his mind. If the power to think is a remarkable gift, the power not to think is a far greater one. Trying to quieten, restrain, or subdue the incessant flow of thoughts, their organization and reorganization umpteen number of times in the mind is like facing a persistent, formidable enemy, very difficult to defeat and silence. In this verse, Arjuna surrenders his mental predicament to Krishna, who has the power to attract and uproot the restlessness and turbulence of minds. To elaborate further, Lord Krishna in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is discussing the topic of meditation and its benefits with Arjuna. In this verse, Arjuna is raising a question regarding the obstacles in the practice of meditation. The obstacle Arjuna mentions is the wandering nature of the mind, and because of this, one is not able to focus the mind in a particular field. Here, Arjuna is desperate, and he is finding it difficult to focus his mind on dharma as a kshatriya and fight the war against adharma. Swami Paramarthananda explains the words Arjuna used to describe the state of his mind clearly. Manaha chanchalam. Mind is highly fluid, extrovert, wandering, wayward, outgoing, and restless because it keeps flitting in different directions from subject to subject. This restless mind is also pramati. It is not only turbulent in itself, it also transfers the disturbance to the pancha jnanendriyas and pancha karmendriyas and all the organs of the body. It churns the entire personality, makes them active so powerfully that it creates all sorts of emotions and conquers wisdom and intellect. Swami Param explains that this mental turbulence gets expressed in the external level by creating trouble in the mouth, eyes, legs, and so on. When emotionally disturbed, the mouth becomes active, either talking too much or eating more. The eyes wander, the legs walk up and down, and more. He continues saying, even when the mind intellect says, do not do this, mind will say, you are right, but I will do what I will do. Thus, it is very strong, balavat, overpowers the faculty of discrimination. The mind is also obstinate. He explains certain ways of thinking we initially create. Then afterwards, the mind gets into a habit. Later, even if you decide to stop, the mind will refuse to let go or change the habitual thought pattern and continue to do as before. Tasya nigraham sudushkaram, weaning the mind from its own habitual thinking and responses is extremely difficult, like vayo, like controlling the wind. Just as the wind cannot be stopped, similarly, you cannot order the mind to stop thinking. Arjuna says, "Hey Krishna, you have to help me. Take me out of this habitual thinking and unhealthy responses. Tell me how to do it. I require your guidance. I require your guidance to get myself out of the grip of this thought factory, my mind." Sri Krishna replies to him in the next verse. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kirti, for another nice presentation, highlighting the most common presentation, the most common problem all of us have in meditation is that our mind begins to wander. Suman went into what Gaudapadacharya had said in Mandukya Karika, few other things. One is laya, we tend to go off to sleep. The other two problems is kashaya. Kashaya means all sorts of negative emotions become awakened. And the fourth problem that you can have is begin to rasaswada. You begin to enjoy it, and then it becomes another Vishayananda itself. Sharmila, it's your time to let us know what Krishna has to say to all these problems, particularly Arjuna's problem.
Hari Om. Am I audible, sir?
Very, very clear. Go ahead.
This is verse 35, chapter 6. Shri Bhagavan Yuvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena to Kaunteya Vairagyena Cha Grihate. Shri Bhagavan Yuvacha, the Lord answered, Mahabaho, O Arjuna, or mighty armed one, Asamshayam Manochalam, undoubtedly the mind is fickle, Durnigraham, and difficult to restrain. Kaunteya, Arjuna, the son of Kunti, Tu Grihate, it can be restrained, Vairagyena Cha Abhyasena, through detachment and practice. The Lord answered, O Arjuna, undoubtedly the mind is fickle and difficult to restrain. O Arjuna, however, it can be restrained through detachment and practice. In this verse, Krishna is responding to Arjuna, who had expressed his frustration over the nature of the mind. Kirti has just explained in verse 34, where Arjuna says it is very difficult to control the mind. Shri Krishna does not deny it, but fully agrees with Arjuna and offers a upaya or remedy to the problem of vikshepa, which is the extrovertedness of the mind. Swami Param says vikshepa is a universal problem and not one affecting only some people. So with this knowledge, one is able to acknowledge and accept the problem more readily. The mind is difficult to handle, but not impossible. One can handle the mind if one adopts proper method or upaya. This strategy for mental discipline is called Mano Nigraham Upaya. So what are the two methods offered as a remedy to control the mind? It is Vairagyena and Abhyasena. What is Vairagyena? Vairagya means detachment or dispassion. We know the mind runs after worldly objects. The elimination of such attachments eradicates the wandering of the mind. For example, when one sees his favorite dish, one gets very tempted to eat it. One should examine if the dish will give permanent joy or future sorrows, perhaps in the form of cholesterol or diabetes. This constant disciplined inquiry brings about vairagya or detachment. What is abhyasa? Abhyasa means practice or discipline to change an old habit or develop a new one. In all fields, practice is the key that opens the door to mastery and excellence. Similarly, the restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate mind has to be made to rest on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord through abhyasa. So when does the mind dwell on something and not get distracted? It is only when it is interested in that subject. It could be cooking or reading or watching movies or social media. So to have full concentration, one has to be interested in that subject. So how does one develop interest in a subject? It is by knowing the value of that subject and understanding its importance. How do we know the importance of the subject? It is by reading about it, talking about it, and sharing it. The aim is to develop healthy habits, and this is called Viveka Abhyasa. For example, going to Gita classes is an example of a healthy habit. The scriptural studies initially talk about the superiority of God, and later God dependence, and God dependence is the only worthwhile path to pursue. God dependence is self-dependence, as God is within us and no different from us. Self-dependence is independence, and independence is moksha. An unhealthy habit is one where one depends on the perishable world. Swami Param always gives the example of the cardboard chair. It is not designed to take one's weight, and hence one should not sit on it. The only chair one can sit on is God. Here, sitting means being emotionally dependent. Choosing to sit on the strong chair is Viveka. Choosing to leave the weak chair is Vairagya. To sum up, Lord Krishna's Parihara, taking the mind away from the world is Vairagyena, and bringing the mind to rest on the Lord is Abhyasena. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharmila, for another excellent presentation. All our presentations today were very good. You know, I can see the effort that each one of you have put, and the message has been very clearly brought out. Like Arjuna has brought out the problem of meditation, and Sri Krishna said it is possible through commitment, through Vairagya, and through Abhyasa. We will formally conclude today's class with a deep sense of gratefulness for giving this opportunity to study the Bhagavad Gita every day, and to give the inspiration for each one of us to prepare so well, and to give the inspiration for so many of you to log in every day and to revise the Gita. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.